Hello, everyone. This is Paula Guthrie, and I welcome you to Creating Purpose with Pau and to the Spanglish World Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download Single TV on their respective app stores. You can find Single TV in Google Chromecast, on Amazon Fire TV Stick, Roku Stick, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we have a great guest. He is Chuck Hogan. He has his very own TV show called Your Best Life. He has more than 22 years in experience helping other people to create their best life, as well as selling and many, many other skills that he will talk to us today. So, thank you so much for being here. I welcome you.
It's a pleasure, Paola. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Yeah, so please talk to us. How can we begin to create our best life?
Hmm, that's a very profound question, and thank you for asking it. It's interesting. There's a lot of people that have you ever heard this saying, if you want better answers, ask better questions? And so it's been a very interesting, I'll say, experience in my 22 years in behavioral sciences. I started noticing something, and that is oftentimes people ask, how are you doing? In fact, it's kind of a cliche, you'll even hear like they'll use a New York guy, how you doing? And it's like, so it's interesting when we ask that question though, and it seems so simple because when we respond, it's actually a cognitive response. We're actually in our brain going, how am I doing? Well, I'm okay. I'm all right. And I go, oh, just okay? Just all right? Like really? That's the quality of your life? And so I started really realizing something, Phil, and I started asking people, how are you feeling? The power and the difference of a word. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Well, that feeling is,
Like,
I feel really great. I'm actually excited. I'm enthused. Why? We're not asking them for a laundry list of how they're doing. See, when you ask someone how they're doing, you're asking them what they do. When you ask someone how they're feeling, you're asking them how they be.
okay.
And it seems so simple. People go, come on, Chuck, really? I go, try it sometime. You'll be amazed at the responses that you get from people. And I started realizing that this same thing comes up when we're talking about life. So someone said, how'd you come up with your best life? YBL. And I go, it's actually really simple because I know a lot of people who are surviving life.
Oh,
They're not living
yes.
their best life. They're getting by. They're doing their best, but not being their best. So we came up with this concept in my family, and it's kind of, I come from a very diverse ethnic background. My dad's Irish, hence the last name Hogan, and my mother's Japanese,
Aw.
which yes, don't let this fool you. It's up here. And so,
That's awesome.
and then mi esposa is from Nicaragua. So
Oh,
my kids are amazing. They're multi
hermosos. Your kids are hermosos.
bien. Yes, it's so it's amazing when we start to look at life. And I said, you can be doing your best and never being your best. When you are being your best, you will always do your best. Now, this is really challenging though, because people go, "Ooh, you have really, really, really high standards." And I go, "Well, I do, and there's a caveat. Being your best means that you're doing and being the best that you can with the resources that you have at that moment. So if you're having a rough day, give yourself some grace and space. Give yourself that time and say, hey, I was being my best today. And it didn't go exactly the way I had it planned. But you know what? I showed up through the challenges, through the trials, tribulations, through the awkward conversations. And I actually created some wins out of this. I actually got some better lessons and learnings too. And that's where YBL, this whole Your Best Life ideology came from. It's like, well, are you really aspiring to live your best life? Or are you living in survival? Are you living in just trying to get by and, whew, boy, I made it through this day. Wow. I was like, and I know some people who are like that.
Were you ever at that stage in your life where you were just
Oh, yes. Yes. There was a time in my life when I was looking back, and I'm so blessed. I still have both my parents. I have a younger brother, younger sister. I'm the eldest, so the guinea pig. As they would especially call to my family, they're like, "Sorry, you were the guinea pig. There were no rules. There was no handbook." So I've done the exact same thing with my son, who's our guinea pig.
Yeah.
And here's what was interesting. I found myself at times doing my best. And the reason for it was is that when we get under enough pressure, when we get under enough intensity, there's a tendency to go back to what we know. And I grew up with a really strong work ethic. So if you just put in your time and if you work really, really, really hard, and if you're a good person and you smile and you connect and you create value, that Hakuna Matata, everything's going to be great. Don't worry, be happy, just like Bobby McFerrin in his song. And I go, okay, that then I started to realize something. And this was a strange enlightening. I realized that I could fake it till I make it. And I was like, ooh. And people go, ooh, that sounds bad. And I go, well, no, we all fake it till we make it. You don't come out of the womb running. You fall a lot. You crawl first. In fact, some of us just sit on our back and, kick around like a turtle on its back. And I go, okay, so what happens? I said, well, you fake it till you make it. And then you start going, oh, I have muscles. Oh, I'm getting coordination. Oh, I am progressing. Change is happening with me, for me, and to me. So now I get to this next level. I faith it as I make it, or you face it as you make it. Because when you go from faking it, you're like going, oh, I'm watching all these other people. It looks pretty cool. They're mobile. They're walking. This is an awesome thing. Then you face it as you make it. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, and then you're grabbing
Yeah.
onto stuff. You're grabbing onto pant legs, people, anything, the dog, whatever you get your hands on. And then all of a sudden, you're walking and you're going in a direction and it's on purpose. Not because of, okay, I'm going to keep going to the right. Why? Because that's where my little body's going. And you get to this point where you start to faith it as you make it. Because now you're like, oh, I can run. Oh, I can jump. Oh, I don't know what's around that corner, but I'm going to go ahead and run that way anyway. And you run till you pass out. You're as a kid, you're like, okay. Then what do? You run some more. Why? Because you can. And this brings us to this point where we're at now in your best life, and that is you believe as you achieve. You get to a point where there's so much faith, there's so much trust, there's so much understanding that you get to this elevation where you're going, gosh, I feel so connected, body, mind, and spirit. It's not just what I am, it's who I am, it's who I be. And there's this level of energetic congruency that comes from this, Paola. You've probably felt this with people. Like someone will walk into a room. Like I feel it with you tonight. So thank you for being so gregarious and open and asking such amazing questions. I'm serious. I don't believe that we're on this show together by happenstance. Other people were looking out for us. Other people said, I think you two would have fun together and this could be great. And I go, awesome. I'm up for meeting amazing new people. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I look at another one, I go, well, what if this is how the world heals? That by resonating at different frequencies, so it's actually been scientifically proven that laughter has one of the highest megahertz when it comes to the vibration that it channels at. Love, passion, just connection. It's like it all resonates here. And then they go, okay, it's like right here. It's in this what we call the comfort zone. You don't need to do anything to feel okay. I'm all right. I'm getting by. But here's the challenge with that. There's no growth in comfort. Zero. Like there's no expansion. There's no, in fact, I'm gonna kind of get nasty because there's no possibilities. And it feels, wait, what do you mean? You're taking away all my options? No, you took your options away when you said everything was okay. Because
Oh, that's
then,
a good one.
because you don't have any needs that are being met at that point.
Yeah.
Huh.
Hmm.
Here's what gets crazier. So you have 5 innate human needs. If you live in the world of Tony Robbins, there's also an additional 6 human needs that we can talk about. And those are more behavioral. So let's start there. You have certainty. You need to know what's going on and feel some security in your life. You need uncertainty of variety. Why? Because if you do the same thing over and over again, you're like, going, boy, steak's good, but shrimp would be nice one night. Maybe some chicken, maybe some vegetables. Significance. We all have a need to feel desired, want, and necessary. Then we have love and connection, which is a universal one. We're built to be connected and engage in that energy that we were just talking about. And then the last two are spiritual, which is growth and contribution. Those come when we're experiencing any one of the first 4 on a regular basis at a level 5 or higher. So here's what happens when someone's living in an okay world. They're meeting those between a 3 and a 5. It is just okay. But it's enough for them where they go, I'm alive, I'm above ground, I'm drawing breath, so I'm okay. But see, there's these 5 essential needs that we have too. And oftentimes we don't think about them because we feel like they're just a gift that's given to us from God, heaven, the universe. Air. You can only go minutes without it. Water. You can only go days without it. Food. They say you can go weeks, but boy, I'll tell you what, if I miss lunch and dinner, I am not a happy person, right?
We're hangry. Speak of hangry.
Ooh, okay, you're like, I'm a little prickly. Like, what do you need? Grapes. I need berries. Give me some blueberries. I'll be fine. The next one is we need shelter. We need a home, not just a house. Home is where the heart lives. Home is where we commune together. We celebrate with family. We create a nest where we love one another and we sleep, we eat, we thrive, we dream. We even suffer sometimes together. And that's okay too, because we have amazing lessons from this. And then the last part is love and connection. So the only one between the essential 5 human needs and the 6 behavioral needs is love and connection. And it's one of the most powerful states. And yet it's probably one of the ones that I'm finding most in my world of your best life, where we have uber successful business people and they're making millions of dollars and we're profitable and life is good and money's, man is flowing from heaven and money's not an issue. Yet the relationships are. And not just the one with others, but the one with themselves. See, we hear this every time we get on an airplane. In the event of emergency, please put the oxygen mask on you first.
Yeah.
Then proceed to put it on your loved ones. And there's a lot of people who spend a lot of time turning the oxygen on and putting masks on everybody else. And they're the ones that are barely breathing. And so your best life is really about how you feel about you in your relationships and in your communities. Because at the end of the day, if you die alone with no love, was that really a life? And I don't mean to sound somber, but I've lost too many people over the last couple of years. And so I choose to not let anyone go by without knowing how special they are. And to remind them that they are loved and that they are necessary and that we all get to. We don't have to. You get to. It's a choice. The universe, God, spirit, they gave you a choice, body, mind, and spirit, to be connected and to live. But I know a lot of people who are living in their heads and they're dead in their hearts. And you're like, how can that thing, it keeps beating? How is that even possible? Like, do you shock yourself? Like, do you stick your fingers in a socket or something? What do you do to get juiced? Because they go, yeah, I work. I said, I didn't ask you how you're doing. I asked you how you feeling. Yeah, I'm tired. Oh, from what? Why are you so tired? I've got all these companies to run. We're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. A lot of responsibility, Chuck. I got a lot of mouths to feed. Oh, okay. I'm assuming you eat. Your family eats. Oh, of course. Okay. Do you enjoy food? Love food. Oh, what do you do for fun? Fun. Yeah, that F word. Fun. It's Faith, family, fitness, finance, fun, fantasy. I go, fun. Yeah, it's an F word. He goes, oh, I'm too busy working. I go, oh, can I ask why? Well, what do you mean? I just told you I got a lot of mouths to feed. Yours is one of them. Do you love your children? Do you love your wife? Do you love your employees? Do you love your team members? Do you love your companies? You know I do. Said, do you love yourself? See, in spite of ourselves sometimes, Paola, we will actually give up the things that we love the most. And we learn to love others, we learn to share, we learn to grow, we learn to expand. And oftentimes we don't learn self-care. And it's imperative in today's climate that the reason why the world is suffering so much in today's view, in my point of view, and for whatever the hallucination's worth to anyone that's on this session today, is there's a difference between self-care and being selfish, and they are not the same thing. You have a responsibility to live your best life. Because when you are no longer being your best, you will become a liability to someone else. So why would you not have a need to feel full and exercise the science of success and learn from amazing people like yourself how we can co-elevate, how we can actually expand with one another, and in addition to that, where we can actually connect with one another. So now it's like, I can agree to disagree with you. Paola, you so crazy. Girl, really? You honestly believe that? Okay. Because I can agree to disagree with you. And here's what's beautiful. There's no judgment. Zero. But if I go, you're nuts. There's no way. Oh, those red state people, those blue state people. I go, I'm purple people. I only wear a purple shirt. Well, they go, you're an independent. I go, I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to say, I'm for good people. However they show up, I'm for great people. I'll settle for good. Because I'll never forget, I heard Mike Tyson say this, and it moved me to no end. So a lot of people go, yeah, Mike Tyson, the boxer Mike Tyson? I go, yeah, this is the philosopher Mike Tyson. And so they're asking him in an interview, and this is, gosh, now he's in his 50s. And in fact, I think we're the same age. Oh, geez, I better start working out more. So, because he's way bigger than I am. And they asked him, they said, hey, Mike, how does it feel to be the best of all time, the GOAT, the greatest of all time? And Mike has this very pronounced accent, and he goes, you know, I don't think I was the best of all time. I think that I was a great fighter. And I go, yeah, you're the greatest of all time. He goes, no. He goes, you know what I struggle with? He goes, I struggle with being a good man. I got goosebumps as I just said that. I was like, oh my gosh. This is a guy who made hundreds of millions of dollars, who everyone on the planet knows his name. And yet his struggle was the same as all of ours. And that's to just be the best you can be. A good person. If that's all they put on my headstone when I pass, he was a really good person, take me now. I'm good. I'm like ready to rock and roll. Because that means so much more than, oh, he made a lot of money. Oh, he drove a fancy car. Oh, he has a nice watch. Oh, he has a beautiful home. Yeah, I'm very grateful. I have a lot of amazing things, and everything pales in comparison to the love of my wife of 36 years, to my 3 amazing children, to other beautiful souls like you, Eduardo, our executive producer, Vinu Kelly, all these different people I know. I mean, I am blessed beyond measure because I am rich in friendships and connection. And that's what fills you up.
How have you experienced? Now, I mean, it's February, so could you tell us a little bit about part of our fulfillment, like you're talking about, is connection. You know, like we must have connection. And I believe, I'm going to be with you, it's one of my struggles. But I think it comes because, you know, I come from one nationality, come to the US, trying to belong. It's just different, you know, like it has a history, but we don't have time for that right now. And I mean, I have a great marriage.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like, I do connect with my husband, with my kids, but
Yes.
outside that is a little bit more, it's harder to create those and I'm working on it. Like this beautiful journey is teaching me how to connect like spiritually, not just, hey, how are you doing, I'm glad to see you, but it's like learn to really connect spiritually,
Yep.
like how are you doing today. you know it's a process. But going back to your 36 years of marriage, could you guide us
Oh,
how to
sure.
nurture, a strong connection and a relationship with our loved one?
Sure. Say I'm sorry a lot. Uh, it was my fault. That's the number
Yeah.
two statement. Um, yes, dear, you're right. Uh, no, I'm kidding. But I'm not. No, I'm speaking to all your subconsciouses right now. These are open loops that you'll play back later in your sleep. So here's what's interesting about this. Um, my wife, Julieta Margarita Arguello Hogan, is from Nicaragua. And so she's from a foreign country. And believe it or not, so am I. I'm from Japan. I was born in Sasebo, Japan, the son of a military man and my amazing mom, who's a teacher. Um, in the 1960s, yes, I'm old. Just get over it. This Asian, it just ages at a different way. And so here's why I'm sharing this with you. I had probably the most profound representatives of true love. And what I mean by that is my dad's a redhead, blue-eyed Irishman. In Japan at the time, when he was visiting my mother, he would ride 60 miles. It first started on a motor scooter and then he got a car. But he would travel 60 miles a day back and forth from the base to go see my mom. He courted my mom for about a year and a half, 2 years. And every time he showed up where my mother lived, which was not in the big city, but outside the city, the kids would try and rub the freckles off him because they thought that he had mud on his skin because he had so many freckles. Talk about cultural, right? In Japan, no different than in many Latin American countries, arranged marriages can happen. Caste systems. So my mother was the youngest of three. So I share this with you because my grandparents, in their infinite wisdom, allowed my parents to marry out of love in the 1960s. And I can tell you, as a child who was born in 1966 and grew up in the United States during the 60s and 70s, segregation was alive and well because I came here when I was 3 and I was judged for the color of my skin, the way I looked, which I looked very Asian when I was young. I know this doesn't represent it all. And I share this with you because I saw these same traits in Julieta and Julie. One of the things that I found, God blessed me with this ability to be able to feel connections with people. And I'm not trying to be woo, so I apologize to all of you out there. This is my luggage. I carry it. I own it. All 12 voices in my head. Yes, they're mine. And here's the deal. All 12 of them fell in love with this woman and her energy, her heart. She's drop dead gorgeous. Outside, she's 10 times as gorgeous inside. She has the biggest heart of any human being I've ever met in my entire life. And it's my privilege to call her my wife, my soulmate, my friend, the mother of our children. And I share this, and people go, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I said, "It's the truth." Let me be very clear. Your presence and authenticity is your only currency. That's it. That's it. That's all you have. If I take away your money, all your status, all your fame, even your name, what you have is you. And this is where it gets a little scary for all of us, okay? I'm just going to be very real right now. The opinion that we have of ourselves sometimes can be very, very challenging. That we don't feel worthy enough, that we don't feel that we have the chops or the skill, and I go, you know what? You breathe the same air I breathe, sister. We eat the same foods, we drink the same water, we feel the same sunshine, the rain falls on our face the same. I said, so we may have slightly different skin, we may have slightly different accents, different colored eyes. I said, if you cut all of us, we all bleed red. So we are all the same. And in fact, I'm going to go a little Deepak Chopra on all of us. You're made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. That means that we are all beings of light. That means you are connected to every ounce of energy that permeates around you, through you, with you, underneath you, behind you, on top of you. The floor, the walls, the air, the sky, your hair, your teeth, your nose, your eyes. We're all made of the same stuff.
One creator, right?
Yeah, hey, there's last time I checked, there's one format. It's called human. And I was like going, okay, why do I go there? Judgment kills dreams. Comparison kills execution. It is the most disturbing. They go, come on, you have to be critical. I said, no, you could be inquisitive. You can choose to be critical of a situation and read into it when it wasn't even the truth. But you said this, honey. No, I didn't say it. And boy, I sure as heck didn't say it that way. Why would you get that from this? I'm confused. So what actually helps dispense criticism in contrast? And I go, communication. Clear, open, honest, without judgment, and say, listen, I'm going to put it all on the table, and I don't mean to hurt you when I say this. This is what I saw, this is what I felt, and this is what I heard. Whether or not that was real or not, I apologize and I own it. But it made me feel really, really icky inside. And I don't ever like feeling like that. I don't want me imparting that and projecting that on you or the kids or anyone else. And yet I'm human. So I'm going to have moments where I'm not going to feel strong. And I'm sorry. And I just pray that you love me enough to love me through it. And what if we come up with a safe word? What if we come up with a word like when where we're not feeling powerful? Because I don't know about you, I'm actually raising my feet under the desk at the same time. True story. I'm just not that flexible. They're not coming up here. It was a long time ago. And I share this with you because what if we could just say, ouch, or, oh, my daughter has one and I love this. She goes, fascinating. You know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
in a good way or a bad way? That's like, it's just fascinating, Dad. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know if I like where this is going, but I'm gonna leave for a minute because you kind of messing with me right now. So isn't it amazing? Our kids start to use our own stuff.
I love it. Oh yeah, mine says I'm peeved, Mom. I'm like, okay, you're peeved.
That's very. I like that. Using a thesaurus. That's awesome. But isn't it beautiful though? To your point. So I don't look at the number of years we've been together as a benchmark. I don't. I just pray that I have even more ahead of us. And there's a reason for this. One of the most profound quotes I've ever heard in my entire life comes from a children's movie. And it's from a amazing tortoise in the movie Kung Fu Panda. And his name's Master Oogway. And he says, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. So be grateful for today because it's a gift that's called the present. And it is an absolute gift to be in this moment with you, your listeners, your viewing audience, and be able to just connect and say, you're not broken. You don't need fixing. And if you're listening to this tonight, hearing it, watching it, seeing it, you're blessed beyond measure. Because there will be people tonight who wish they had electricity, who wish they had media, technology, that wish they had the freedom to be able to listen to a simulcast like this. And just maybe by listening to this tonight, they're inspired to be their best. And to find that it's not even about looking for a next level. Please stop with, oh, I've got to level up. I got to push up. I got to grow. I got to expand. Every time you do that, you're diminishing everything you've done up to this point because you're saying it's not good enough. And it's not true. It's not true. Would you take back one of your children? Would you take back your marriage? Would you take back your career? Would you take back this show? Would you? No, you're like, no, of course not. I go, then don't look for better. Appreciate now and strive for different. They go, ooh, wait a second. Why different? Well, because I'm not diminishing the value of where I'm at now. I'm just looking for something different. I'm like, if it's this good, I know I've got access to this. What would different look like? What would that feel like? I go, ooh, that's exciting. Now I get enticed, I get enthused. It's like, ooh, okay, this is scintillating. No more peeved. I'm enthused. It's like, okay. So that's a long-winded response to be yourself and choose to be happy. Choose to feel joy and be full. And they go, oh, that's just a bunch of bahooey. Because life's going to happen to you, Chuck. And I go, I don't know. I believe life's happening for me, not to me. Things are going to happen. Change is going to happen with or without you. So, Pila, may I ask you a question?
Go for it.
If you stop moving and you just stay in your comfort zone, is change going to happen with or without you?
Oh yeah, it's happening right now.
So
There's
if you,
AI I have not mastered yet.
exactly. So if we sit still, I go, this is you. This is the freight train of change. And I go, okay, this is not a good strategy. And they go, oh, but do I have to struggle then? Because you say, I said, just look for different. So if this is the train and it's coming down the tracks this way, and I go, you know what's beautiful about change? You can take a step to the left and the train goes by. You can take a step to the right and the train goes by. You can turn around and look at the train. You can admire the train. You can be grateful for the train. But I don't have to get run over by the train. It's a choice. It's a choice. And I'm feeling very warm inside. Thank you, because I just have all these feelings of just love and admiration for my family. And I will share with everyone that out of that 36 years, it has been brilliant, beautiful, and amazing. And there was about 10 years of that relationship that was challenging. And they go, wait, what? It wasn't perfect? The way you talk about it. I was like, uh-huh. And I'm going to be very candid with you all. When you have children, it becomes extremely important that we all understand this amazing facet. Your children are bastions of joy. They're our legacy. They are the apple of our eye. And if you start to lose your relationship with your spouse or loved one into the love of the children over your spouse, you will grow apart. And not because you want to, because your reticular activating system, and I'm going to get a little scientific on you for a moment, your RAS, only knows where you point it. So think of your reticular activating system as a satellite dish. It's your focus, your attention, your connection. Well, if I want to get a signal from a satellite, I need to tip up and turn to where that satellite's located in order to get the signal. Well, in a relationship with someone, if your children are over here and they're over here, on occasion, you'll have crossover, but this person's not feeling the connection, the engagement, the frequency of your love, your adoration, your connection. Why? Because they were the apple of your eye and your focus for so many years. And the reason why you have these children is they're a representation of the manifestation of the love that you had for this person. So here's a really simple tip for you all. Do what you did in the beginning. Love on your loved one. And your children learn by watching you. They learn what a healthy relationship looks like. They learn what true love looks like. They learn what public displays of affection look like. Holding hands. Why is it okay to hold your kid's hand? Why is it okay to carry them and hug on them and kiss on them, and you don't do that to your loved one, your spouse? I go, because you're crazy. So my wife and I are like 18-year-olds. My kids are like, oh, they're at it again. We'll see you at dinner. I mean, like literally, they walk ahead of us. And now I love this because they hug on everybody. My son, who's 23, will give me a kiss on the cheek. He's 3 inches taller than I am. He's buff. He looks amazing. He's a shark kid, just graduated from university. So if anyone needs someone with a biochem major and a comp sci minor, call me. And yeah, oh, I'm not too proud. I'm pandering. That tuition was crazy. Thank you, Stanford University in Waco, Texas. So anyway, I'm sharing this with you because now they know what love looks like. And it's not because of all the great times, because they've seen the challenging times too. They know what conflict resolution can look like. They know what commitment looks like. Ooh, because I get scared now in this your best life. And it's true. You asked me, so I'm just giving it to you both barrels. Sorry. I get scared that there's too much bulldozing parenting and helicopter parenting going on, where our kids aren't allowed to make mistakes because we're trying to just clear the way and, oh, don't worry, it'll be okay. Mom and dad got you. And I'm like going, did mom and dad have me when I was a kid? I remember falling down a lot. Bicycles, skateboards, gymnastics, martial arts, surfing, swings. I mean, I fell a lot. Now that I'm thinking about it, I fell on my head a couple times. That could explain a few things. But I share this with you because it's like, why do we steal our kids' lessons? I go, well, shame on you, Chuck. I don't take from my kids. I go, well, if you're not letting them fall, if you're not letting them expand or experience, I'm not judging. I would just ask, seems like you turned out okay. So, did your biggest lessons come from your accolades and achievements or from some of the challenges and failures that you experienced? Not judging, just saying. And I
I'm
found this,
glad you bring this up.
please.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, because guilt, it's a big one we bottle, and I mean, it's like I pray as a God, please take care of my kids, and as I take care of your people, because it seems like my schedule is a little bit busy, but I feel like I'm taking care of God's people, and sometimes when the guilt tries to take in, I'm like, please take care of my kids, and I'll take care of your people. And when I'm here home with them, it's like I'll give them my all,
Yes.
try to create those magic moments. But I do feel guilty because those magic moments are not happening 24/7.
So, it's quality over quantity because it's called a magic moment, not a magic forever, a magic always. It's called a magic moment. That means in that moment, that split second when we decide and they're present and we're present, that's the connection. That's the gift. It's not yesterday, that's history, or tomorrow, that's a mystery where all the fear is, all pains in the past, all fears in the future, all loving connections in the moment. When you say that you're taking care of God's people, you're one of them. Your husband's one of them. Your kids are one of them. However many children you have. And I go, so why do I go there? And I say, I have this belief, and it's something that's served me over the last 20 years. This all came about when my daughter, so about, and I was reminded of this. So Keely's 17 now. She just turned 17 in January. So when she's about 10, she comes into my office, this office, sits in this chair, and she goes, Dad, can I talk to you? I was like, sure, baby. Can Daddy take off his suit and tie? No, I just need a moment. I'm like, okay, great. Yep. What can I do for you, sweetheart? She goes, take a seat. And I'm like, well, you're in my seat. Oh, not tonight. Take a seat. She points the chair across from my desk. And I go, okay. She goes, I was asking mommy what you do for a living. I said, okay. She goes, and it seems like you do several things. And I go, that's true. And she goes, so are you being a CEO? Are you being an executive strategist? Are you being a co-founder of this company? Are you? And I go, well, yes. She goes, but so I'm confused. She goes, who are you when you're here? She goes, because I know who you are, at least from what mommy describes when you're at the office. I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, I'm your daddy. She goes, that's what I thought. She goes, thank you. She goes, we're done. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Where's this all coming from? She goes, I just figured that you're not the CEO of me. You're my dad.
Oh my goodness.
This is coming from a 10-year-old. And I was like, what just happened? And she goes, I'm good, Dad. Thank you. Gives me a kiss. Love you. Takes off. I'm like, who was that mass person? Like, where did this come from? And it brought back this memory. And this memory was so profound. I have this saying that I developed because I realized that when I was putting in a week that was 120 hours in a week. I'm not embellishing. It was insane. And I've done this several times in my career. At the time, I was involved with 6 different companies all simultaneously. And it was a lot going on. And I asked myself, I said, why am I not happy? I'm exhausted. Like I'm exhausted. And it's not that I wasn't feeling full, but I wasn't feeling like full. I was like, going, I'm busy. I'm busy full. I had a lot of stuff full. I didn't have a lot of connection full. And this is when I realized there was a science to success and an art to fulfillment. And it's not finding the balance between the two. There's no such thing as work-life balance. This does not exist. This is
I
give
agree
and
with
get. This is horse trading. I said, so I believe in more of a yin and yang ideology. Maybe it's my Asian background, but I believe in this philosophy of everything's in movement, in motion, and that it's in constant flux. So our life is actually seeking harmony and synergy, not balance. And that when things change, what creates gravity is movement, polarity, connection. Like, ooh, I like this charge, energy, frequency. I was like, woohoo, okay, I'm in. This feels great. Let's keep going. And so I realized, I said, I'm working so hard to give my family what I believe they deserve. And it was like, oh my gosh. I thought they deserve a bigger house, more things and stuff, bigger Christmas tree, the cars, everything. And I was like, you know what? They just want me. And I'm not giving them me. I'm giving everyone else me, but I'm not giving my family me. And so I started this mantra and I said, my family deserves the best of me and not what's left of me. Now, this was great for about 6 months. And I started getting tired again. And I'm like going, come on, I'm doing this right. Hear me clearly. Listen to language. I'm doing this right. Ah, silly man. My family and I deserve the best of me and not what's left of me. See, I wasn't taking time for me. I wasn't filling my cup back up. So every time I was pouring out, I'm pouring from an empty cup. And this is why I go back to you and I say, for you to be able to find that connection to energy outside of just your immediate satellite family, this is you trusting you. This is you owning you and allowing your gifts and your love not to be hampered. This is literally you taking the filter off of you and no longer playing small payola and allowing yourself to have the freedom to grow. And in that space, you will start to find all these people reaching out. You'll be like, holy smokes, I never knew. And the truth is, yes, you did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be who you are today.
Wow. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I mean, wise words tonight for a beautiful audience. And we're running out of time. And I would love for you to talk to those people right now that are here with us, and they feel that numbness of
Mm,
life. You know, where it's like every day they get up, get ready to go to work, they do what they have to do, pick up the kids, bring them back home, cook, do laundry, then
yes.
get ready for the next day, and then they have to do it all over again. What could you tell this beautiful audience that feel that numbness, and they know that there is something more out there, and they're good people, and they know they're good, and they're trying to do good, but they just cannot see another way to bring that fulfillment in their life.
Yeah. I have a simple 2.5 minute exercise, just 2.5 minutes every single day you can do. And it starts in the morning. Everything that we do, we be, we feel is because we have a need to experience these emotions. So the meaning that we give to something, we're all meaning makers, all of us. Doesn't make a difference what the event is. We will attach a meaning to it. Same exact event can happen to two people side by side. They have completely different recollections of the event. So here's what's amazing. If you ask yourself this question in the morning, how do I need to feel most often today? And they're like, what? That sounds a little woo-woo. I go, okay, let's test it. If I ask you how you're feeling, you go stressed, overwhelmed, exhausted. You know what the quality of your life is? Stressed, overwhelmed, and exhausted. You know everything that you do during the course of a day will have an element of stress, overwhelmed, and exhausted because you turn your reticular activating system on, and that's what you're focusing on. And here's the crazy part. You go, I said I don't want to feel that way. Your brain doesn't know the difference between negative and positive. So when it processes, it only hears stress, overwhelmed, and exhausted. And although you're trying to move away from it. So here's the difference. Get very clear on how you want to feel instead. Energetic, healthy, vital, grateful, necessary, fulfilled, open, guided. And just pick 3. Whichever ones flow into you. And write them down. Write them down. Write them in a journal. Write it down. So if it's Wednesday night, boom, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to own these. But we did this in the morning. In the evening, you check in before you go to bed at night. So that's first thing in the morning, by the way. Because I guarantee you, if you're doing your rituals and you pray or you move your body or you meditate, it will be so much more enriching when you're doing it in the presence of the 3 emotions that you actually gifted to yourself that you need to feel most often. At the end of the day, you check in, you go, how did I feel most often today? You know what? That was a great day. I had some challenges, but oh my gosh, I was present. I was actually happy. I was gregarious. I had more energy than I've had in weeks. Holy smokes, this stuff actually works. Huh, I wonder. So I felt this way. Second part of the question. So what does that mean? Well, it means that I actually have more control over myself than I thought I did. That if I actually give myself the opportunity to feel the way I need to feel, that's awesome. How do I need to feel tomorrow? Or do I need to feel a different way instead? See, because here's the beautiful part. You get to. You don't have to. And you write them down. Well, you get up the next morning and guess what? How do I need to feel most often today? You are setting yourself up for this ritual. You're developing this muscle, this emotional muscle, this intellectual muscle that actually helps feed your body, mind, and spirit. In that 2.5 minute exercise, try it. You'll be amazed. And teach your kids, because I'll tell you what, it changes the metric for them. It's just something that you can try on.
Yes, I would like to share this with you. I just learned this poem from Joseph McClendon III. I know you know him.
Oh, yes.
And it goes like this, like, my thoughts are just the mini mixtures of my constant words and pictures. And it's like the more I say it, I'm like, oh wow, it's like, be careful what I allow it to filter, in my mind, because
Yeah.
that's what's laser focused through the day. That's what I'm going to experience. So yes, we have that control of what we think, what we
do.
choose to think.
Yes, Eckhart Tolle said it best. He said, tend the weeds to the garden of your mind. Because with social media and all the things that are out there now, these little devices, as beautiful and as amazing as they are, if you do not turn on your reticular activating system and you start being the filter for the content that you're receiving, you will fill yourself with things that may not be as valuable to you as you thought they were.
Thank you so much for being here today. I so much appreciate your time and your wisdom.
It's
To our
my
beautiful to our beautiful audience, remember that the praying never stopped, the training never stopped, because we determine the destiny, where we're going. So thank you so much. You all can watch this video, the beautiful interview, in my YouTube channel, Paola Guthrie, or you can go, because this is also in Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Blessings, and we'll see you soon.